Hello everyone, you're welcome back to my channel GVStar Codes. If you're new here, I would appreciate if you subscribe and also hit the notification button to get notified when I post amazing tutorials like this. So this tutorial is a continuation of our previous implementation of a Laravel-based AI chatbot using HuggingFace Inference API. So if you missed the previous section, don't worry, I'll put a link in the description below and you can always check it out. So this is what we did in our previous implementation. We created an AI chatbot. So all we did was to create a chatbot that could give us a response based on a specific format. So a typical example is to send a question like this. Say, help me create a REST API course, and the bot gave us a response based on a format that we gave it, called using the prompt engineering technique. But we still said now this bot could do better because now it's only having a one-way conversation. So if we ask the model to change something here, it might not know what we are saying because it doesn't have any information about this particular um, data that it gave us. So all what we are going to do in this section is to make our model context aware. So we will keep track of our chats, and then at the end of the day, we create a realistic chatbot that we can have a two-way convo with. So let's just dive into our code. Yeah, so this is where we ended the last time, and we only need to do some few changes, and yeah, we'll have our bots having a two-way conversation. So the first thing we're going to do is to keep track of our chat history. And to do that, we will be saving our chat in a cache. So let's create our chat, or let's call it conversation history. And this will be a cache. And so we're using cache, and let's call it chat history. Yeah, and since there's a possibility that more than one person will be interacting with the bot at a specific point in time, let's make the chat history unique so that you don't have other persons chats in, or we don't have the different people having chats all together in one place. So in order to do that, we'll be passing a session ID. So let me just put it here, and then later we'll take it from the top. So let's interpolate that here. So session ID, and our cache will be initiated to the data we're going to pass is an empty array initially. So let's take session ID here. So we will take session ID from our user. So with this session ID added here, then that means that there's a possibility, there's not going to be a possibility that you have all your chat history in one place. So different users will have different chat history. So this is really good. Now let's do the second thing, which would be to create our conversation history. So we're going to move all this up into our conversation history. So this now we are taking it in one place, which is just one. So anytime a user sends a prompt, it comes here. But now instead of passing the single prompt that the user sent, we are going to pass an entire history to the model. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So let me just duplicate this, and this is going to be an associative array, and it's going to take all that we have here. So we are going to pass everything here, yeah, as our chat history. So what did we miss here? Oh yeah, I think, yeah, this is good. So now we don't need this. All we need to do is to pass the chat history. So let's pass our chat history, or we call it conversation history, to the model. Yeah. So we only did some few tweaks. So initially what we were doing is that we were passing only one convo to the model, but now we have our chat history, which holds an array of chats, and then we pass the entire thing to the model. So now the model no longer has only one um, chat, but so many chats, or it has a history of all the chats that we have. And let's try to be realistic. Let's not pass everything to the model. So if we have, because the model, one thing about interacting with AI models is that they have a specific token length or the amount of words that they can take up at a particular point in time. So we don't want to bombard the model with so many stuff that at some point it might not be able to give us a response. So let's be realistic here and try and reduce the history to, let's say, 10. So let's say, so if, and let's use count to get the size of our conversation history. So conversation history. So if our convo history, sorry, so if our convo history is greater than, if this is greater than 10, let me bring the other. Yeah, so if our conversation history is greater than 10, then let's slice it. So let's only pass only 10. So if we have more than 10, we pass the latest 10. Yeah, and in order to do that, we can use the array slice method. So we will say our conversation history is equal to array slice method. And what we're going to do is that we slice our conversation history, and then we slice from let's say the bottom or the latest. So we slice from the latest. I'll be testing this with you in Tinker so that you see how this works. So if our conversation history is more than 10, or we have more than 10 chats, let's say we have 15, then we only take the latest 10. So what minus is doing is that it's taken from the latest and then it slices up. So let's say the first in will not, or the old chats will not be included. It says, yeah, so old chats will not be included. And let's test that in Tinker so that you see what I'm talking about. Let me just do a copy and paste. I created an array that I wanted to use to show you what will actually be happening. So let me grab that in a second. Yeah, so this is what I went for. And this is just a dummy conversation history that I've created 1 through to 13. So what we are going to do is to see what happens when we slice this on Tinker. So Tinker is like a terminal that you can use to interact with your Laravel application. So let me open a new terminal, the PHP artisan Tinker. Yeah, so I'm just going to paste this here. So this is our conversation history. Our conversation history, we have 13 messages in our conversation history right now. So let's try and slice this. So let's slice it. So we're going to use this same, let me use this, let me just do a copy and paste so that we see. So we're going to slice our conversation history and take the latest 10. And let's see what we get. So let me just paste this here. And yeah, so you see, we slice our conversation history and then we got from 13 to 4. So that means that the message 1, 2, 3 are out. So we take from the latest upwards, and then the old messages would be out. Yeah, so that is why we're using array slice. So I just did this to let you see what would actually be happening when, and why we're using -10. So we grab from the bottom up. So I think we are on track now. And the next thing that we would be doing is just to pass. Yeah, so we've passed this here. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, so let's test this to see if our model is working as expected. Later, we'll add a functionality or a function to clear our cache or something, but let's first check this out. Yeah, so now we are on Postman, and let's change this. So we have helped me create a REST API course. let's stick to courses. Let's say help me create let's make it Java. Help me create a Java course, and then let's hit send. So yeah, the model gives us an answer. It gives us title, and yeah, everything is cool. But let's say we do not want the the model give us like 3 sentences for the title, but we want a title that is a bit longer. So we can now have a two-way conversation with the model, because the model has already kept track of our uh, conversation. Now we are saving it. We are saving our conversation history. So the next time we interact with the model again, it knows the previous interaction that we had. So let's say, let's change this to I want a title with, let's say, at least 5 words. And let's send this to the model. And let's see. So you see, now the model changes it and gives us a title with more than 3 words. You see, so now there's a two-way conversation with the model. There's a two-way conversation with it, which is what we want. This is how a chatbot operates. So I mean, if we take it out of the course use case that I'm saying, and maybe we want to develop a chatbot, this is what we really want the chatbot to do. We want the chatbot to be able to know our previous convo. Yeah. So this is just what the changes that we did is doing, which is really really cool. It's good that now we don't have a chatbot that is having a one-way convo, but a two-way convo. So that is it. This is just the small tweak that I wanted us to give to our previous chatbot. And let's just add something small. We might not use it, but let me just add it so that if you want to use this code, you can grab it from my GitHub. So you can just clone it and use it. Let me just add that to it so that at least you know that you have a full-fledged chatbot working really well. So what I'm going to add is a function to clear the chat history. So let's say the user ends the chat or closes a model or something. We just clear the chat history. So let's create a method. Let's make it public function, and let's call it clear chat history. So we take the session ID of the specific user, and then we check our cache to see if our cache has this key. So let's just do a copy and paste. It's the same thing that we have up here. So I just do a copy and paste from here. So if our cache has this key, then what do? Let's say we say cache, we call the forget method, and then we pass, yeah, this key. So we say check the cache and forget the specific cache that, or check the user ID and uh, forget the specific cache corresponding to the user ID that we just passed. And else, so you can as well log here for maybe info purposes. So you say log cache cleared successfully. So we can log here, and then we say else. If there's nothing like that, what do? Let's say we log info, and we say no cache found. Yeah, as simple as that. So this is what I actually wanted to add, so that under realistic conditions, maybe if your user closes a chat or the convo ends, you just clear your cache. Yeah, to save some memory. It's a good programming practice. So I just wanted to add that. We might not use it here, but yeah, if you want to use this code, or you want to modify it to have a really, really strong chatbot, I mean, you can modify this code to add so many functionalities to suit your use case. Yeah, so now we have a chatbot that does not have a one-way conversation, but can have a two-way conversation. So our current code is better than what we had previously. So what we did previously was for, I mean, it's good for certain use cases, but if we really want a chatbot that we can have a two-way convo with, a chatbot that can understand the previous information that we gave to it, then the modification we made in this section is really good. I'll put a link to my GitHub so you can grab the source code and make any modifications if you want to. Thank you very much for staying here. I would appreciate if you subscribe, like, and share. Also leave a comment and let me know if you really like this tutorial. See you in another one. Bye for now.